Welcome to Grow Your Strength. I'm going to start us off with some breathing and just try to downregulate the nervous system. I was just talking with one of the students before the tape started about how things in the body can flare up from time to time, and we're always looking for a reason to why we have certain aches and pains and challenges that come our way. Everything's connected and affects us. So congrats on taking the time to just move the body and work on getting some physical strength that has carryovers to everything else in our life. Just taking some time to adjust the posture. If your neck and shoulders are tight, then just roll your head side to side, tuck your shoulders down a bit. And then what about the curve of your back? If you have a big curve and your rib cage is flared up, can you just adjust that a wee bit? And if it doesn't feel good to have your legs extended out, you can bend your knees or put them on a piece of furniture. Taking this time to take care of yourself. Let's just do some deep breathing in and out through the nose if you can. And just lengthen the exhale, letting all of the air come out, and you can feel some recoiling of your core muscles. Things are drawn inward, maybe a little upward as you inhale. A big intra-abdominal expansion, including down into the hips and pelvic floor. And then exhale, thing just recoils. Never a bad time for some breathing practice. It's a good go-to. Go on to our sides next and go right into some side lying. I call them rib grabs because I grab a hold of my rib cage. If your head doesn't comfortably go on the floor, then support yourself with a pillow. Stacking the knees and feet. So as you rotate away from your straight arm here, you feel the movement through your sort of your upper back, shoulder blade, and then finish that movement by turning your head. Trying to work on the rotational pattern. So as you move, keep your knees stacked. Don't worry about how far you get. You can continue to work on some slow breath cycles and hold the rotated position for 1 or 2 breaths. And then after a few of those, you can take the top arm off the rib cage and then start to work the arm up and over. At a certain point, you reach the limit of your rotation through your spine. It's not just about getting the arm to the floor. I could kind of let my arm fall, but I'm just turning and sinking into my shoulder and shoulder blade. Maybe reset by reaching past your bottom hand, get a good stretch. And let's finish with a nice slow circle around, just gently watching the fingertips, letting the weight of your arm open your shoulder. Let's take one in each direction. There's so many things we do in our life that are sort of habitual, everything from chopping food, washing dishes. Now we have a lot of driving for some people, or computer work, uh, cell phone, reading in bed, even reading a book can be hard on the posture. So when I do moves like this, I've turned sides here. I just think about how this is sort of I want to call it corrective, but it's just the opposite of the postures that we find ourselves in often. And they can feel a little uncomfortable. Like we don't do a lot of this kind of rotation in daily life. Body has so many different angles and ways that it can move. And take the top arm up and open for a couple of passes. And then into a couple circles. Coming to hands and knees next for some flexion and extension of the spine. So taking some time to have your hands and knees wide enough that you've got lots of room to move. Rounding your back up gently, not pushing extremes, and then slowly going through, dropping the front side down, rolling into an extended posture through the chest, dropping the shoulder blades together. Watch that you're not shrugging, and just gently look up. A few cycles of the cat-cow from the low back right through the neck. Just reminding your spine of its most primal position and flexion. So then after this, we're going to go to the hip cars, the hip circles. So I bring my hands under my shoulders, knees under my hips. I'm going to gently tuck my toes and kind of find my middle ground of my back in between flexion and extension, my neutral, taking one knee off and slowly starting to circle around. This is not just a hip mobility drill. When you pay attention to the details of keeping the hands connected and the weight equally distributed, it becomes a bit of a core exercise as well. And then what about the breath? Nice deep breathing. Are you maintaining the head and neck posture as well? And then there's a couple circles. And shake out the wrists and then switch over to the other side. Pushing the floor away. Breathing nice and deep. Take us right into a bear hold next. So once you finish the hip circles, the bear, you just return to this position with your toes tucked and then slowly lift the knees off, taking the body weight through the hands and shoulders. You can open up your fingers and kind of grip into the ground a little bit, not just taking the weight on the base of the wrist. And then shaking out the wrists, we'll go back into a high arm plank and rock through the feet a little bit as an option. So if you're new to this and stepping back into a high arm plank is hard enough, you can hold it for a few breath cycles or make it a short one. And then here's the rocking through the feet. Trying to get a little stretch right up through my calves to the back of my knees, through my heels, through my toes as they get bent as I rock my weight forward. Let's take it off the wrists now and go into the ankle, knee bends and ankle work. Got my toe spacers on this morning, so that makes it easy when I say spread the toes. And this continues to be one of, I think, my favorite part of just taking care of things for feet, ankles, knees. I find this position quite relaxing and get a good stretch through the back side of the leg. And I think 3 to 5 of these moves. Try not to go too fast. The working leg is straight, non-working leg straight too. If you can do some of this work in this split position, if the back doesn't feel good, bend the knee and adjust the low back posture. Maybe keep the knee bent or return to leg straight once you've adjusted the position of your curve. Once you've done the knee bends, hold the leg straight and then start to work by fully pointing the toes to the roof, getting a good stretch to the front side of the ankle, pulling those toes down. You can open up the toes, give them a little wave. Here's the ankle inversion and eversion. Great to maintain and improve your ankle mobility. This has got a big carryover for balance and for walking speed, the quality of your gait. So maintaining good ankle function. Take it into a couple slow circles, challenging yourself to go very slow, keeping the legs still. A lot of people that do this, I see them do this, right? So their whole leg is moving, their knee is moving. They can't isolate their ankle. So hold your leg, get what you can out of just the ankle. And then we'll switch over and take a moment to readjust the posture through the neck and shoulders, low back, get it just right. Start to enjoy the knee bends on this side. Good. Taking some time to work the foot. I'm I'm already feeling better from this class. I was so thankful for many things, but not for trying to renew my cell phone plan, which has turned out to be an absolute terrible experience, which still isn't completed. So without going deeper into that, I'll just say I know life throws everyone curveballs that we have no control over. Let's go into some circles. I tell myself, you know, like electronic problems, right? It's not really in the whole scheme of things. Oh. Prioritize yourself and your health. Self-health. There you go. Okay. Now, we're going to take a roller. We're going to work on a little extension of the shoulders. If you don't have a roller, you can just do this with your arms on the floor. The hips go back, knees are a little wider than hip width. As I reach forward, I'm sinking my back and my armpits to the floor. You can come up and reset and take your arms a little wider. You can bring your palms facing each other, thumbs to the roof. What about weight shifting a little over to the right side and to the left side? Taking deep breath right into your low back. We call this thread the needle, where you take the roller to the side. This gives you a little stretch to the back side of the shoulder. You also can involve your neck by gently turning. Give yourself about 3 resets before you switch sides. Sinking into it. Other side. Today I'll take us from here to half kneeling. And if you require some support on your down knee, you can fold your mat over or put a cushion there. And just taking some time to level out the hips, relax the arms down, and just slowly pulse forward your front knee tracking over your midfoot. And you get a little stretch in through the front of the hip, trying not to arch the back. Walking this front foot a little wider, we can start by pulling the heel in and then getting some stretch through the ankle and knee. Getting some motion is lotion, getting some movement through the joints, and then extend the leg out and then see if you can sink into this a little bit more. Now at this depth, I'm starting to feel a lot of stretch in through the inner thighs. Just taking some time. Keep that knee tracking right over the midfoot. Create some space and some stretch in through the hips. Okay, we'll switch sides. Take that time to level things out. The back toe can be flat or tucked. Tucked puts a little bit more stress on this down knee. So if your knees are sensitive, just leave your back foot loose. And if you are okay with it and you tuck your back toes, you might actually feel an increased stretch response here. So play with that. And then out with the heel in. Good. And then taking that foot out, sinking to create the space, a little bit more stretch. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to take us to standing now and work on some balance. First, we'll wake up the feet. Got a fairly firm mat here. And just going to take some time to get some connection through my toes by stepping side to side. Work for a little bit longer with my toe spacers on. I don't always keep them on when I'm doing lunges and things like that, but this is an interesting move for waking up the ankle, knee, and hip. And of course, I've got the toe splayed out, so my base of support through my foot is a little better. Today, I'm going to take us to one foot and just set up the balance on that foot. If you are needing to track the back foot by tapping down or holding it just lightly, my toe there would be fine. I'm going to bring my hands together in front and see if I can bring my back foot off. And we'll start in this position and start to draw some figure eights. So watching my fingers as I trace a figure eight a few times through and maybe switch direction. Okay, so the bigger the figure eight and watching it makes it harder. So instead of having your eyes fixed on something, it's fixed on something that's moving. So you can feel lots of little adjustments in through the hip, the knee, and the foot to maintain the posture. Okay, so that was good. We'll change up the feet and just going for a couple of big figure eight patterns. Breathing deep, watching. Oh yeah, that makes it a little harder. Go for a bigger number. I said two, but I think I'm doing 3 or 4. There you go. Excellent. Just practice. Okay, reverse lunge with load. Taking some weights. 6 reverse lunges per side. Take some time to figure out what weight will work for you for the reverse lunge. I'll go demonstrate a couple times from the side. Nice tall posture, dumbbells in each hand. I step back, I get control of my balance. I'm dropping my back knee down to a depth I can control and step forward. Now you can stay fairly upright, or you can shift the weight forward, putting a little bit more response through the knee, the front knee, if that feels okay. A little bit more knee friendly is just go down straight. That looks great. Okay, the front knee is tracking right over the midfoot. And as I step back, I can really feel all my toes helping me with my balance. Good. Next up is our knees and squeeze. You can keep the same weights, change them out, or go body weight. My hips go back into a hip hinge. I row elbows to the side, squeezing my shoulder blades together, and then stand up tall. Hinge, row, stand. If you want to stay out of the neck, really feel the pulling together or the retraction of the shoulder blades. Up to 10 of these, depending on the load you're using. It's like a double up for the posture, a nice hip hinge, row for the upper body, and then back up into tall posture. Rep ranges are always approximate, especially with these kinds of classes, not knowing how you are on any given day. Not too easy, not too hard. Next, I'm going to take us through some body weight squats, and then we'll load it up. Okay, so for the body weight, just working on a footprint that feels wide enough that you can pull your hips down, knees go forward and wide. And as you pull your hips down, you want to be mindful that you're not going into a rounded back posture or an extended back posture. So in the beginning, some people tend to lean forward a little bit more in their squat, which is okay. But over time, you want to have the hip mobility, find the angles for your feet that you can stay a little bit more upright. This is core strength too, as I pull my weight of my torso down into a depth, okay? You also want to make sure that you're not giving out to one side. So I like that checking, shifting the weight over, finding the center, opening up my toes, and then coming up nice and even. This is a great trick to keep giving your body that sense of not defaulting to one side or weight shifting over. Okay, now we'll add weight, and you've got choices. You could take the 2 dumbbells to the shoulders. You could hold one dumbbell or kettlebell in front. And I'm just going to recreate a space between my feet that feels good today. Pull myself down with a good strong breath and stand up again. 6 to 8 reps. Good. If you get to 6, you think like I can do an extra 1 or 2, then just go ahead and complete a couple more reps. I'm going to take us back to a little bit of balance, and we'll run through this set one more time. So back to the open toes, weight shifting, taking a little longer on each foot. And then setting yourself up, hands out in front. Let's try those figure 8s again. You can go a little larger, maybe a little faster, or try slower. Ooh, still too easy. Maybe blink or close your eyes. Try to do a little bit of this work with your eyes closed. I did close my eyes there actually. It wasn't so bad, but some days when you do that, you get a really bad demo. Okay, so here I'm setting up side 2. Okay, get into the figure 8. And then blinking, closing eyes. That's great. It looks good, Shirley. Okay, reverse lunge. Okay, this is loading up the legs. It's a full body exercise, right? You're stepping back. If you want to add breath, I suggest you breathe in as you step back and down. Create that support through some intra-abdominal pressure. Exhale as you stand up. Watch the depth. Watch that front load if you want to get a little bit more work through the knee. Focusing on something in front of you will help. Keep your upper posture and your balance. Good. To get that feeling of bend in the back toes. Switching sides. Might have done one extra. Knees and squeeze. Now, how did the weights feel the last time you did that? I used slightly heavier. So I'm just going to go down a dumbbell size because I want to have a really good sense of the connection through my shoulder blades. Definitely stay out of my neck. Lots of benefit. Even body weight. Pull those shoulder blades together. Work the muscles through the back side of the shoulders. Slowly release. Stand tall, find your posture. Tighten up your hips a little. Feel the work. You can cut down on the amount of time it takes to do these resistance exercises by really focusing on quality and thinking about what you're trying to achieve. There's some research on that where mind-muscle connection. I'm thinking about getting strong through my shoulder blades, working on my posture. Now I'm going to go back to my weighted squats, and we'll take another set of these 6 to 8 reps. Open up the toes, take a strong breath in, go to a depth that feels good on all your joints. If you're just starting out, you might not be as deep into the squat as you see me doing, but that's okay. Practice will come. Nice and even. Excellent job. Okay, I'm going to change this up to the floor. We start with double bridges for 5 and then single leg bridges for 5. I'll put my mat back down so it's easier to see. Maybe grab a sip of water and we'll go from there. Okay, so double bridges. Take some time to adjust the posture. This is a hip extension exercise. So adjusting the posture, making sure you don't have a huge low back curve, just teeter it down a bit. You're not trying to jam your back flat, but this part of your body should feel integrated. As you press into your feet and lift up, tighten up your hips. This is the hip extension part, okay? No higher than middle of the knee, middle of the hip, armpit. Here is not full hip extension. As you come back down, if you land in an arch, switch back to that postural connection and then lift. You don't want to go through repeated bridges, putting stress onto your back. And that's what happens if you don't correct the posture every time. The single leg bridge, you can grab on to the back of your thigh. I feel this is a really important exercise. And apparently so does Dr. Peter Attia. So if you follow him on social media, taking yourself through a set of 15 single leg bridges, part of the centenarian decathlon that he talks about. You want to feel the work through the hip. Want to keep the hips square as you lift up. If you're developing a cramp or you can't keep that connection, then just switch, match your reps on side 2. And in this program, I'm trying to get us to 10, but certainly in a lot of other programs, I'm challenging folks to get up to 15 on one side. And so you can, if you didn't do 10, you just switch and top it up. There's the work. Get up to high bridge. This is about week 4 of this program, yeah. So if you've been following along and you've just been doing the get up with a ball, perhaps it's time to take a weight. If you're not confident in the move and you're not sure, then stick with the ball. We start the setup by anchoring in the shoulder, aligning the posture just like we do, chin, low back. This arm and leg are out on an angle. You roll to the elbow, flatten your hand and come up and adjust your hand so you can take your weight between your hand and foot and come up. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Carefully sitting back down, rolling to the elbow, no shrug, and pull yourself back down. We'll do this 2 times and then switch sides. If it doesn't feel right, put the weight down. For people who are just starting, sometimes I just get them to come to the elbow. This might be second stage. This is lifting body weight. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Nice and slow. Own the lower. Take advantage of that time where you're coming down with control to get strong. Okay, switching sides. Set it up, chin tuck. One and 2 and 3. Elbow. And rest. Reset. Breath in. Just keeping my head turned slightly, looking at that top hand. Good stuff. Now for the second round of bridges today, I'm going to show a few variations. So for the double bridges, I'll show a loop band. And then for the single leg, we'll use a long stretchy band. So for the double bridges here, I've got the loop band above my knees, going through the postural check. Now I'm going to press out into the band, bridge up and down. And if I need a break, I could let the knees float in and then reset. If the work isn't too bad and you can keep this posture going, you could do some consecutive banded bridges. I'm pushing out with my knees, connecting with my toes. And then let's try and get up to 10 of the double bridges with this extra bit of resistance. So I'm checking my chin and back, coming up to that full hip extension, tightening up my hip muscles, down and release, okay? Now, these are variations that make the bridges harder because we've added a resistance band. This next one also makes the single leg bridge harder. When you do the leg lock, you kind of have a little bit of movement going on with the leg. When you take a band and just lace it around the back of your thigh, have your knee right over the crease of your hip. And I'm not going to be pulling on this band. It's more of just an anchor so that I know elbows bend, both pieces of the band are in my hand. So now when I bridge up, I'm not allowing my knee to come up towards my shoulder or drift away from me as I bridge up. So I find that place, and then now I bridge. And this really seems to isolate and focus the working hip. So again, I'm not pulling on this band. This is just a bit of a guide. And that's about 5 of my 10, and I can already feel more work being targeted here than I did on that first set. So I'm gonna really try to get to 10. I'm just taking a short break, readjusting my posture. And if you try this version, just keep that in mind that it does feel harder and that you might need to decrease your reps. And we're gonna get to 15 of this kind one day. How's that for a goal? Okay, side 2. Try not to go too fast, not using momentum, thinking about the mind muscle right here. Okay, so going back to the get up to high bridge, just taking some time to set that up again, decide if you're going to use a weight or a ball, and 1 or 2 per side, sinking into the shoulder. Nice control. So I'm a little slower this time, up into my hand, lifting up, not in a shrug. Counting for 3 seconds, slowly lowering the hips, then down to the elbow, and then rolling back down to the floor. I went pretty slow, so I'll switch sides. Anchoring, shoulder, lower back. Great. Exercise has a whole lot of benefits. Stick with it. Don't get frustrated with learning the get up or stages of the get up. It's worth the investment. I'm going to finish today in standing with hip hinges and then some bent over row lateral fly. Okay, so let's start with hip hinges. We've done this before. Are you going to hinge from the top down or take load from the bottom up? Working on building strength is important through the hips. That this is also the deadlift motion. Same motion would be priming for a kettlebell swing. Hips go back. Back is neutral. Anti-shrug, take that deep breath in, and I'm lifting up, rebreathing nice and deep, and slowly lowering. Depending on the weights and how close this is to your max, you might want to stop between reps. That looks great. And reroute your feet. Think about connecting armpits, back feels fine, lifting up. This is another one of those moves where you don't want the back to move under load. So if you come into it with a big rounding back, that's going to put stress on, or overarch back. So this neutral back, sliding your hands down your thighs and moving the weight as the prime mover being your hips. That's where we get the benefit. Okay, so if you're feeling this in your back, your neck, not in this area, then don't lift any weight. Let's work on the pattern of your hip hinge first so you don't injure yourself while you're trying to get strong. Okay, the lateral fly, I'm going to take some lighter weights for this, 3 to 5 pounds, feet side by side, opening up the shoulders at 90 degrees, and again, staying out of the neck. So I should be able to turn my head. I'm working the up phase, top of the shoulders, and then pulling down, squeezing like I'm squeezing a towel, right from my armpit to my elbows. How this feels on your body is different for everyone. A lot of times we haven't trained lateral flies. 2 to 3 pounds is really going to be fatiguing for a set of 6 to 10 reps. We can get very strong in this plane. So just make sure that you feel like you're in control and that you're not getting and triggering anything in your neck. Now the bent over row, I'm going to go back to just the both weights sitting back. Weights are on the outside of my body. My back is neutral. Squeezing just a set, 6 to 8 reps. Squeezing shoulder blades together. Then there's 6. Just at 6, I started to feel like, okay, that's enough, right? Grab a little water. Let's run through this set one more time before we say goodbye. So all the priming that we did, hip circles, ankle work, leg under stretch, all this kind of stuff, it got our body ready to hip hinge. So now when you're doing this, you can get your hips back, feel that your back is in neutral, can anchor your feet, take a deep breath in, lift with your hips, rebreathe, bring the weights back down. I'm actively trying to not let the weights pull me into a rounded back position. Up, rebreathe, hips back, back stays neutral. My shoulders are working hard because those are double 16-kilogram kettlebells. So I don't want to hurt myself. Make sure quality reps, you know, the rep range, the set range. It's one thing to talk like that, but the other is just to get some good quality movement in here. Feel like it's not too easy, not too hard, and that you did give your body some resistance training today. Lateral fly, I'll go one dumbbell size up. Didn't feel too challenging today. So slept well, energy's pretty good. Back and upper back and neck feel good. So go a little heavier. Even doing this with just body weight is going to be beneficial for your posture and for your shoulders, right? Just this. Okay, so you can certainly do these classes body weight. Last one is the row. I'll demonstrate the row with a stretchy band instead of dumbbells this time, in case the dumbbells you have are too light and you're not being challenged. A resistance band like this can work really well. You walk your hands down towards your feet and then find even tension on both sides. You want to have the tension just so that your elbows finish at your sides. You're working that retraction. If you're feeling this in the back, stand up for a moment, re-find your hip hinge, right? Squeeze, release. Nice control on both sides. Well, I got a little schvet on from that today. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you so much for joining and building a stronger version of yourself with me in the group.